Hello everybody. Now it's been a little while since I've done a live. I've been travelling around America and Canada and having a ball. Now I'm back home and I am on a mission and I want to find out who wants to join me on this mission. Now some of you are going to think I'm a little bit bonkers, which I probably am, so that's okay. Let me tell you what my mission is, all right? My son is starting his year 11 for his GCSEs and he's starting in September. Now, by the end of this year, he would have finished his GCSEs, all, is it 13 of them? I lose track how many there are. And I know that this year is going to be a little bit different from normal. And as a parent, I feel there are certain things that I can do to support my son to get him through this year, to allow it to be as easy as we breathe, as easily and fluid as it comes. So what we did last year was we actually had a practice run with his GCSEs, and he took a GCSE early, and it was a subject, well, it was religious studies. It wasn't a subject that he was particularly interested in. It wasn't a subject he was particularly motivated or particularly good at. So as you can imagine, we were starting from absolutely ground zero with this and, getting him through this exam. And as it was, he ended up doing it a year early and he passed it with a grade A, which was absolutely brilliant. So I've gone through this journey with him, and now it's time for the big journey where he's going to be doing all 13 of these exams. And my mission is to find other parents that are going through this journey with their children. Now, it doesn't have to be the parent, it can be the student, but it can be the son or daughter of the parent. Either way, I'm putting together a private Facebook community to get us all through this year. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because I have learned so much going through this process, what you would say a practice year, doing one a year early. And there are so many things I believe I can give this group. For example, things like motivation. How do you get the motivation skills to get you started and to keep you going? What are the techniques that we used? I can share those with you. This private Facebook community is going to cost nothing. It's all free. It's about us working together as a team. I come across so many parents that approach me about Easter time before their exams and say, Heidi, can you help? And then I think, well, you've got to be quite realistic where we're at. So please don't think I'm raving mad. I know I'm talking about this now, but I am starting this from September, and anybody who wants to jump on board with me so I can give you all these motivational ideas. Organisation, this is an absolute key, and I want to show you motivational skills to make your son or daughter or you as a student more productive and successful. I can put all these things for you in our private Facebook community for you to access absolutely free. Hello Melissa, lovely of you to join us. Also, the other things that I want to do is I want to be able to give time management ideas. Time management, getting to grips with your time, which of course ultimately reduces stress and saves lots of time. We can also together look at skills for effective research, reading and note-taking. What are those skills? What are these approaches to these that we can support our sons or daughters with, or if you're a student, what you can use with this. Let me give you a good example of what I learned last year. Doing the same process that I'm going to do this year as we did for the one last year, towards the end of October, we had the mock exams where they're the practice run through for their GCSEs. And when my son did these exams, we looked at his religious studies paper and we thought, hang on a minute, he's really getting low scores on these high-end questions. So, for example, he could get about 14 points for these big questions, but it came out he was getting marks of 2 points, which is huge, isn't it? So what did we do? We analysed these questions, and what he was missing was that technique of point evidence and explaining. He hadn't mastered the skill and he didn't actually know what the examiners were looking for. So we analysed these together and came up with the strategies and practiced these. And then of course when he did his mocks in Easter, well, he was now getting, for a question that he was getting 14 marks for, he was getting 9 marks. So you can see the staggering difference between getting 2 points and 9 marks for a question, how this pushed his grade considerably. Now, if I hadn't put this input in myself, it kind of makes me question what grade would he have got? I'm convinced he certainly wouldn't have given an A. Now, I know he's the one doing the exam, and absolutely he's the one doing the studying and the revising, but there were so many things I was doing to support on his journey to allow him to go from success to success, to keep that motivation going. Now, last year was just one exam. Well, he did 2, but the other one was a foundation paper for English, and he got the top score in that. And the reason they do that exam was to see whether they can manage both English language and English literature. So I said to him, yay, you've got the highest grade, which means you get extra work next year. You get an extra subject, English literature, which I'm not sure actually, maybe it's quite the idea behind it. But anyway, so as I said, we did this practice run. And if I hadn't gone through all the things I'd done with him, I know it made a considerable difference. I could see the improvement as he was going along. And I desperately want to share these techniques. Now, of course, there are, 13 different subjects at your GCSE level. So, of course, we're going to be juggling loads of different subjects. But, of course, I know lots of people in these network areas. I know someone who's an absolute expert in this with mathematics and getting kids through these exams. So I thought I could bring him onto our private Facebook page, and you can ask loads of questions and tackle all those things that get your son or daughter onto the private Facebook page even better. And we can go live and get these guys to ask as many questions as they like for these experts in their fields. I've got a brilliant expert in English. She is amazing. Amy, she will be absolutely fabulous. Hello, lovely Barrett, Leslie, to see you join us. I don't know whether you or Melissa have, do you have a son or daughter who's doing their year 11 GCSEs? If they are, keep listening. So this is what I thought. I could bring in all the experts of all their knowledge areas, and you might say to me on the community, Heidi, I'm struggling with physics or this subject. Can you bring an expert? Because I have so many people in the field of these areas, of these specialist subjects. I can bring them on, and you know what? We can pick their brains, which would be absolutely fantastic. A great opportunity. And you know what? It doesn't cost anything. But the biggest part of setting up this private community and network is that we can keep each other motivated and accountable. When we've got a group behind us, it will keep me going. I'm going to be doing this anyway, with or without you guys. I've done it once before and I'm now doing it all again. But of course, this year it's going to be 10 times the intensity it was last year. So that's why we're starting as soon as September gets going. The other thing I want to share with you is the things that we were doing through revising, the skills for exam preparation, what those were. I want to share those and give those to you in this community. And of course, remembering, well, when they've got all these subjects, their brains become so packed with so much information that, there comes a point of how much more information can you take. So how to make your memory work for you. I want to share these techniques with them. I'm going to push them into this private Facebook community so you can benefit from them as well. Writing, that's a biggie, isn't it? Goes across all the areas, unless you're doing a speaking and listening exam. But, focusing on successful writing for exams. What is it that our sons and daughters can do to raise their game, to get that extra few points to raise that grade? I'm going to be sharing all the tips and techniques that I was covering when it comes to note-taking, discussions and for presentations, if they are doing speaking and listening exams. And of course, learning to learn. We all know what they're learning at school. Okay, I hear all the time on social media, school was a waste of time. But actually, fundamentally, what we are doing is we are teaching them how to learn for life. Because when they leave school, that's when the true learning begins. And I saw a significant difference. As we were going through the process last year, the different techniques and ideas my son wouldn't even thought of doing. He would have just ploughed on doing the same way all through the year. And actually, you know, it becomes repetitive, it becomes boring to them. So we've got to keep them motivated and keep them going. So learning to learn. These are ways to accelerate their learning and make it much more effective. So these are all the things I'm going to bring for you. So if you have a son or daughter, or you know someone who's just starting year 11 in September, can you share this with them, please? Because I'm going to set up this private community. It's all free. It's all about sharing information, sharing knowledge, sharing all the stuff I learned to get, you know, where we got from my son to get his A grade. We've got to do this times 10 this year. Yep, that practice one was brilliant to learn so much. So if you know someone who has a son or daughter going into year 11, please share this with them. Get them to come and join my community so we can go through this journey together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down into 3 segments. We're going to start with the first sort of 8-10 weeks, because I think that's when their first mocks are in October, the end of October. Now, if you are homeschooling, what you can do is you can actually set the system up at home yourselves, where by the end of October they have their mock exams, they practice them. And that is such a massive indicator of where they're at and what you need to focus on. So I'm going to do the first 8-10 weeks to those mock exams. And then, of course, they have another second set of mock exams at Easter. So that's another 8-10 weeks. And then after that, it's the finals. And we've got another pack of 8-10 weeks. So I'm breaking it down into 3 segments. And each time, so you can actually join the journey wherever you like. The sooner, the better. Preparation, preparation, preparation. That's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's kind of cramming your brains with all that stuff. And the more you understand and the earlier you can take it on board, the greater your confidence will be. So guys, if you know anybody who wants to join me on this private community page where I'm going to be giving all this information to you and bring on experts to help us, let's get through the year together. Let's do it as a team and help motivate our sons and daughters. Because, you know, it isn't easy being a parent. What do I do? Do I push them? Do I hold back? How much input do I have? Well, I can show you what I did to prepare the groundwork to get them engaged, you know, get them involved in it and get them to see the absolute benefits for them. We know a year in your life is actually an incredibly short amount of time. But when you're 15 or 16 years old, a year feels like a lifetime. But trust me, it will be over before we know it. And that's the thing that I learned last year, was how quick it all went by. So guys, if you want to join me, just type in the comment box, I want to join, or count me in, or share this with someone you know that has a son or daughter that's going into year 11 now, this September, or maybe they're even homeschooling. It doesn't make any difference to me whether they're homeschooling or whether they're going to school. Either way, as a parent, we have, well, I believe I have a responsibility to set up an environment that he's going to succeed as best he can. So let's work out what that environment is together. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's get ourselves going, and it would be great to see you there. Talk to you later. Bye.